This is what we are making today. PYDLIFE has a brand new tumbler press and I'm going to show you how to use it. Don't forget to stay tuned for my honest opinions about this 40-ounce tumbler press. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. You heard me right. PYDLIFE has a new 40-ounce tumbler press. Hopefully you had a chance to see my unboxing on Instagram and you have checked it out. Now, I have already finished the whole process with these tumblers. I love the way they came out. I'm going to take you step by step through the process. At the end of the video, I am going to share my honest, true opinions about this, and you will be able to make your own decision. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let me show you how I measured these, but I need you to promise that you are not going to use these measurements because I ended up having to measure again, and I don't want you to go through that drama. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I measured, then we're going to look at the materials, and then we are going to go into Silhouette Studio. You can use it for free to do your printing. Let's get started. Oh, I have 3 different tumblers that I am going to be sublimating, and I'm going to show you how I measure mine, but I want you to still promise me that you are going to measure yours. Do not take my word for it. If you order 40-ounce tumblers, even if they're all the same brand as the ones I have, I still want you to measure the ones you have. So let's look at this first one. This first one has a lid that looks like this. It's tapered at the bottom. This one has a handle that does not come off. So what I'm going to do with my tape measure, and you can use any kind of tape measure really, as long as this, you know, it'll wrap around your tumbler. It doesn't have to be specifically for tumblers. And I'm going to go start right here at the handle, and I'm just going to wrap it all the way around to the other side of the handle. Okay, so this one goes all the way around and it stops at 11.5. Okay, so 11.5 is the width. That's what I'm going to type in once I get to Silhouette Studio. And then let's look at the height. All right, so I'm going to start here at the top. I can actually remove the lid because the lid is not a part of my measurement. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to the top of the tumbler and see how far I can go down before I get to this groove or this area where it starts to taper off. So looking at this, to me, 11.5 right at by 6, I would say is fair. So what I wrote down on my little sticky note is 11.5 by 6. And so I'm just going to add this to my tumbler until I'm ready to actually sublimate it. But I'll know exactly what to type in for my width and my height for this tumbler. Now let's do the bottom. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. But with the bottom, I don't have the handle to worry about, so I need to go all the way around. And I do know that I'm going to start from the top of it, not the bottom. Okay, so let's look at the widest part of the tapered tumbler at the bottom. So it's right at 10.5. 10.5 is where it stops. And then the height of it is, let's see the height. 10.5 right at about 3.2. I would say 3.2. So here's my bottom sticky note, and I just needed to switch the numbers around. 10.5 is my width and 3.2 is my height. So I'm going to add that to my tumbler. And when I get ready to print these, this is the width and the height. So now let's do the same thing for the next tumbler. So this one is different, it has a different lid, and this bottom part is straight, and this tumbler has a shimmer effect. Okay, so I know that any image that I'm going to use here, I don't need the tapered bottom. I need to have a different bottom measurement. Okay, so let's look at the top. I'm gonna wrap it all the way around, and this one is, I would also say it's right at 11.5. 11.5. And let's go start to the top. Now this one is a little bit less than 6. I would say right at about 5.5 is my safe space. So 11.5 by 5.5. That's what I have on my sticky note. So that's what's going to be right here on the tumbler until I'm ready to sublimate. And I'm going to do the bottom. Let's look at the bottom. Go to the wide. Now this one is not tapered at the bottom, it's straight. So this one is right at about, let's see, I would say like 9.3. 9.3. It looks like 9.5, but it's the metal piece is further in, so it's like 9.3 by, let's see, about 3. 9.3 by 3. So here's my sticky note. Okay, now you might have a different method than I do. Use the method that works best for you. Now I've already done this one. I did the same thing that I did with the other two, but this one is pink. It has a straight, it looks like more of a straight bottom, but I'm going to actually, with the image that I'm using, I'm going to print the tapered edge and the straight edge just to make sure I have the one that I need. But the top is 11.5 by 5.1. And this one does have a removable lid, but I'm not going to remove the lid. I mean, a removable handle, but I'm not going to remove the handle. I am going to remove the lid. Okay. The materials I'm using for this tutorial include the new PYDLIFE 40-oz Tumbler Press. I'm using 3 different PYDLIFE 40-oz tumblers. This is their pink glitter tumbler. This is just their regular white 40-oz tumbler, and this one is a white shimmer tumbler. I'm using heat-resistant gloves, the PYDLIFE Cup Cradle for Craft. I'm using my Cricut self-healing mat, a clear ruler, a finger knife, the Cricut heat mat. I'm using a tape measure, 8.5 by 14 sublimation paper. I'm also using butcher paper. All of these images that you see on these tumblers were downloaded from Creative Fabrica, and they will be linked below the video. My ink is Hippo Sublimation ink, and I used my Epson EcoTank 2760 series printer that has the sublimation ink inside. Let's head over to Silhouette Studio so that I can show you how I have uploaded the images into Silhouette Studio and resized them to fit perfectly on these tumblers. Remember, you need to do your own measuring as you are measuring your tumblers. Let's head over there now. I am in Silhouette Studio and I'm using the business edition. However, you can use the free version of Silhouette Studio in order to print for sublimation projects. What I'm going to do first is go over here to the right panel and I'm going to select the page setup option. And what I'm going to do is make my paper size match the paper that I'm using for this project. So right here on machine, I have it on none, cutting mat, none, because I do not have a silhouette cutter. Media size, I'm going to change this to custom, and I'm changing the width to 14, and I'm changing the height to 8.5. So that makes my paper landscape by default, and the paper that I'm using is 8.5 by 14. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is click on File, and I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to add the images that I just downloaded from Creative Fabrica. The first one is this. I'm going to click on OK. Remember, that is for the pink tumbler, and the width of that first tumbler, the pink tumbler, is, let's move this down, is 11.5 by 5.1. So what I'm going to do is click on the image, and I'm going to click right here on Unlock, and I'm going to change the width to 11.5, and I'm changing the height to 5.1. Okay, so I'm going to just delete this. It's already here. Sometimes my Silhouette Studio moves slowly, but that's okay. Okay, and once it recognizes it, okay, so this is fine. The next thing I'm going to do is, this is perfect. I don't need to do anything else to it just yet. The next thing I'm going to do is click on File and Open. I'm going to add the 2 bottom pieces of the tumbler. I remember I'm going to print the tapered version and the straight version just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to click on this, these 2 images. I'm going to click OK. And what will happen in Silhouette Studio is that it will open a new page. So I'm right here and I'm going to just resize this. The width at the bottom of that tumbler is 9.4 by 3.1. So I'm going to once again unlock this. I'm going to change the width to 9.4 and I'm changing the height to 3.1. Now the reason why I'm having to unlock it is because the proportions are locked and I don't need the proportions to be locked. I need it to actually be unlocked. All right, so now it looks like it only brought in 1 image, but I think the second image might be on this page. Okay, it is. So let me just click cut and I'm just going to bring it over here so they can print together on 1 page. They don't need to be separated. Okay, so here I'll click on unlock again. Well, it's already unlocked. That's perfect. And I'm still changing it to 9.4 by 3.1. Okay. And let's move this up so those 2 will print together and I will get the other images added. So I have these saved in my Creative Fabrica files in my 40-oz tumbler wraps. The second image I'm using is this one right here that says, don't be a salty heifer. It's so cute. Now this is going to go on one of those white tumblers. And this one, let's change the size of this. So I'm going to click unlock and I'm changing the width to 11.5 and I'm changing the height to 5.5. Okay, I think that's going to look great. All right, so now we have all of our images. Now it's time to start getting them printed out. And all I'll do is just click on File and Print, and I'll click Print again. And I'm using my Epson EcoTank 2760 series printer, and it looks like it's actually going to load a preview, but it's not because my printer settings are behind this screen. So I'm going to click on this. Epson EcoTank 2760, click Preferences. I'm using my Sublimation preset with the 8.5 by 14 landscape, and I'm going to click OK. And once I click print, what's actually going to happen is I am going to get a print preview. Okay, so I'm going to click print and it's going to give me a print preview and I can make a decision on whether I like it, and I'll follow that same exact process for all of these. Everything I'll do from here will be back on the camera. Now that I have my images printed out, I'm going to use my self-healing mat and my Cricut ruler and this little finger knife, and I am going to cut off the excess white that is on this paper. So I'm just using this. I'm going to line it up right here and we will get this cut out. So be careful when you are cutting it to make sure it's straight. Okay, so I'm just cutting away all of the white. So here's my first image. Okay, I'm going to repeat that process again. And after doing this again, I will speed the process up, but I definitely want to make sure you understand the process. So what I'm doing is cutting away all of the white, and I'm leaving nothing except the image. Okay, now that I have my images printed and cut, let's start to get the images taped down to the tumbler. So you can wipe these down with alcohol and just like a paper towel just to remove any residue. And so I'm going to use my PYDLIFE handy dandy cup cradle for craft, and I'm going to make it a little bit wider just so it can hold my tumbler in place. Like that. And here's my paper. My first one that says, "Don't be a salty heifer." And we will put the tumbler here and make sure it is lined up and straight. Now, the good thing about having a handle is that you just need to make sure the two ends meet the handle. Okay, let's kind of use the table to stack it. I think this is going to look great. Now let me grab my heat resistant tape and tape this up. I like to use the blue tape. I do not like using that brown tape. That is not straight. Oh, I'm glad I turned this so I can see it better. That looks great. Add one down here. Sure hope that's straight. It doesn't look so straight. I think I better add tape here in the middle. I think that's good. Now I'll start to tape the other images, but I'm going to speed that part up. I have the PYDLIFE 40-oz tumbler press plugged in, but I don't have it powered on yet. There are two independent screens, so there are also two independent heaters. You don't have to have both of them powered on at the same time. So let's go ahead and power on this side and look at how the display functions. So right now you can see the counter is at 001. I haven't pressed anything. The set value, SV is set value, so that's 60 seconds. And the present value, PV, is the temperature that is going to go up to. You can see it's set for Fahrenheit. According to the user manual, you can measure the temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius. It does go up to 999 seconds, and the temperature can go all the way up to 482 degrees. When there's a timer that's set, it'll show here and it'll start to count down. You can reset the timer and start the timer by pressing the clear option. So that's how we set it. We are going to set this to 356 degrees for 60 seconds. So I'm going to press set, and I'm going to just hold this so it does beep. Press set again, and I do want to keep it on 60 seconds. So let's see if I press set again. So now it's going to increase. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to power this on. Going to press set. Press set again. I want it to be on 60 seconds. Going to press set again, and I'll let this heat up. As you can tell, it does heat up pretty fast. So I do like that. Let's let it heat up, and I'll come back when it's finished. Both sides of the tumbler press have reached the desired temperature. So I'm going to start with this first tumbler first. I think this is the one that says, oh, I think this is the sunflower one. So I think this is the one that says, don't be a salty heifer. So we'll start with this, and I'm only going to press one tumbler at a time. The benefit of this press, I think the benefit is supposed to be that you can press two at a time, but we're going to start with just one at a time. And so I'm going to go around to the other side of my table. Oh, I forgot to wrap it. Let me wrap this in butcher paper first. I'm going to go around to the other side of my table and get this wrapped, and then I'll press it. Okay. Have that pressed in. All right, I think it's tight enough. I hope it's tight enough. And now I need to press clear on both sides so it can start the countdown. And we will see how this goes. I hope this is in far enough. Clear. And I'm going to open it up. I'll take this out. I think it worked. Okay, there's a little bit of the image on this paper, so I'm glad I put the butcher paper in there because you can see there's some transfer. All right, so I will speed the rest of this up, but I am going to try the two tumblers at one time and see how that works. So we'll do the pink one and the one with the mountains on it. We'll do those at the same time. Okay. Okay, so this one is really, really good. There is some of the transfer here. So I'm going to use this on the bottom. And we'll get this bottom pressed. And I'll press clear. And I'll grab butcher paper and press the top of this one. Okay, let's see how they turned out. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm nervous about how they look. Let's start with the pink one first. I have my handy dandy sublimation paper remover tool. Okay, so going to remove the tape. It's not hot anymore. Oh, let me power this off both sides. Okay. Okay, so there's the top. It looks very, very pretty. It's very pretty. Oh my gosh. I love that. Let's look at the bottom and see how the bottom did. So I did extra tape at the bottom, but let's see. Let's see how that worked out. Did I forget? Maybe I didn't do it. There's nothing at the bottom. Maybe, I think I forgot to sublimate the bottom of this. Let me just power this back on. Just kidding. Y'all don't be like me. Find somebody more competent. Add this one back in and let me actually sublimate it. Let me add some butcher paper. Okay, so let's look at this one. Let's try this. See. Salty. This one is really good. Look at that. That is so pretty. Oh my gosh. We're gonna check on that one. Look at how pretty this is. Look at how cute, and I'm not even into heifers. Look at how pretty this is. Now let's see the bottom. This is how I tape the bottom. So this one is straight at the bottom. It's not tapered. So that's how it looks at the bottom. So I did not do a good job right here of, I don't know if I needed to rotate this or tape it better, but I still love it. I think it looks very pretty. I did not do a good job though at the bottom, as good as it looks at the top. It's so pretty at the top. So just looking at it like this, or even from back here, you might like, oh, it's so cute. But then when you get up close, you're like, oh, but I still love it. Okay, so let's see how this one did. Y'all do some different stuff. Okay, so there's the bottom. I gotta work on that bottom. There is the bottom that I completely forgot to sublimate the first time. Okay, so there's that. Okay, this one is very pretty. It's very, very pretty. This is exciting. This is very nice. So this one has a tapered bottom. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. Hopefully I did okay at the bottom. So here's this, here's the top. Okay, let's see how the bottom looks. Did a good job at the bottom. Holy cow. I did okay at the bottom. Okay, so here's the top and the bottom of this one. So this is the seam. Yeah, I'm not good at the seam. So if I'm thinking about what things I need to work on, I need to work on the seams and tapered and the bottom of 40-oz tumbler. So I still need to work on that, but I'm not going to hide that from you. I want you to see it so you can know that, you know, I make all the mistakes. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so this is how this one looks. I think all of them came out relatively nice. Do I love them? Yes, especially this one. I think it's so cute. I think it's so cute. The top, I love it. I love it so much. Even though the bottom is not perfect, I still love it. I love this one too, and I think this is appropriate for a guy. So if you're ever wondering like, how come we don't ever really do images for guys, I think this would be great for a guy. And I also, honestly, let me move this out of the way. I think this one is pretty nice also. I think it's pretty. I think it's really, really pretty. I love all of them. Now let me give you my thoughts about this PYDLIFE 40-ounce tumbler press, and we will get ready to land this plane. So now for my honest opinions about this. Let me tell you what I like first. Number one, I like these knob covers because I think that is a must. It is very hard to adjust these without these black covers on these knobs. If you've been with me for any length of time, you know I have a lot of PYDLIFE tumbler presses. I think I might have all of them, but I might not. I'm not sure. I have a lot of them though. To have a tumbler press that's specifically designated to 40-ounce tumblers, if that's what your business is all about, then yes, this is a go-to. This is something you should definitely add to your craft business, because you see I was able to do 2 at a time. I could even do one full one at a time. I love having the option to do that. And I don't think with any of their other tumbler presses that option is available. And I like the fact that you can do the tapered tumblers and the straight tumblers and with one press and not having to have multiple presses. Now I need to work on mine because I'm not really good at that. But in all honesty, this was my first time sublimating a tapered anything because I was afraid to even try it. I love the fact that the displays and the heaters are independent. So if I didn't even want to have to do the bottom part, I could have just done the top and I could have been finished with it with that. I love that. I love the fact that it's portable. It is in the signature PYDLIFE color. It's not heavy. I love the addition of the handles on the I don't even know what this is called. What I don't really love about this, and it could just be me, I don't like that beeping. I didn't like the fact that I have to press clear in order for it to stop, but I do think it's a safety measure so that, you know, if you walk away from this and it's finished, that beeping will annoy you enough to make you stop whatever you're doing immediately. So the beeping, I don't love that. I don't love the beeping going all the way up in temperature or down. So for every number that goes up or down, you're going to hear a beep in the middle of that. I think they only have about 2 presses that don't do that, and I love those. It pretty much works the same way as the others, but like I said, if you are like a hobby crafter, you know, like you don't have a specific business where you are, you know, pumping out 40-ounce tumblers and you want to be able to get a full tumbler done at one time without worrying about it, then, you know, if you already have a sublimation oven, you are already good to go. But if you don't have an oven and you don't have a tumbler press and you want to get into the business of, you know, pumping out 40-ounce tumblers at, you know, 1 at a time or even doing 2 at a time, yes, this is for you. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm always interested to hear what you have to say about it. And if you have some suggestions for me with sublimating the bottom, because I did not do it successfully on any of them. So, and I'm always open to constructive criticism that will help me be a better crafter. At any rate, hopefully you have found this helpful. If you did, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.